How's it going? You listen to Born Optimistic. We're coming here from Born Optimistic's HQ in Terranure. And sitting across from me is Terranure's finest ever musical export, Mik Pyro.
What about
How's
the
it going?
Coronas? What about Dickie Rock?
I am putting you ahead of the Coronas and Dickie Rock.
Oh, Jesus, that's an honour, for sure.
Mick, where do you sit on the optimism spectrum?
Say 0.1. I'm more like, I'm the other kind of, I float the other way most of the time. Apocalyptic, dark thoughts, entropy, chaos.
Have you always sat at that side of the spectrum, or is that something you've veered towards over time? What's your spectrum journey been like over the years?
Well, I've always been fearful of getting my hopes up because, I don't think it's ever good to get your hopes up because you're going to be disappointed. So I have a goofy tendency in me. I'm much childlike, Spielbergian, E.T. kind of aspect, sensitive soul, and so therefore I try to neutralise that with constantly reminding me of the horror and bleakness that awaits around every corner and every moment.
Well, anyone who's listened to your songs would be left with the feeling that you're a big believer in the power of love. It occupies a lot of your songs, love as a concept. And so to believe in love and be a pessimist, are they two sides of the one coin, or?
I suppose, yeah. I suppose, I suppose when I do music, I kind of tend to embrace what the stuff that becomes successful. It's usually like hope, if come back girl. That's in the key of D. Brez wrote that, but it's in the key of D, but it never resolves. So it's almost like this constant striving for resolution that is never quite there, but at the same time, there's hope in it, there's aspiration in it. It always wants to reach the D chord, So it's just about hope, I guess. And, a lot of my stuff was definitely inspired by love or by a lot of that was about my man that come back earlier. A lot of new stuff was about I've got stuff in there about my parents, about relationships that deteriorated, whether it be girlfriends or band members or whatever. So a lot of it is about that, and about I think when it comes to that kind of music, Van Morrison, he's a dark enough guy himself personally, but when it comes to his music, as Bono said, he's always on the bright side of the road. He always has hope and joy and celebration in his lyrics and melodies, and I tend to gravitate towards that as well. Well, the stuff that I do that tends to gravitate that way is the stuff that tends to link with people.
So you could have lots of other stuff that isn't as joyful and hopeful, but didn't click.
Yeah, well, it's the hopeful stuff that seems to definitely. If you listen to our albums, there's a lot of weird, dark shit on it as well. But it's the more upbeat, positive aspect of that seems to resonate with the populace.
Do you have favourites amongst your songs? Do you resent the upbeat songs for connecting, or are all your songs equal?
No, I'd say they're all equal. Yeah, there's songs I used to hate, like which was like our second kind of radio hit, and I used to detest it. Even when I wrote it, I hated it. And now I love it. Because it's great to get a break from actually being in the band as well, because you start being able to enjoy what we did in a kind of very abstract way, and not get stressed out about it. Like I love. Every time I listen to the albums now, I'm more happy than sad. And I'm especially. I listened to A for the first time in about 3 or 4 years there the other day, or about 2 months ago. Somebody put it on at some party, and I was surprised at how good it sounded. And I like all the stuff, to be honest. I'm just glad we got it out there. Glad we did anything. I'm glad we actually produced that the product, and that some people actually heard it. But, even if it's only a small amount of people, at least. You put all that work into creating music, and then people actually get to listen to it, which is fantastic. That to me is the main thing.
And why create? What do you think compels you to do what you do?
I suppose. I mean, you can say that about anyone really. I mean, it's just. I suppose it's some. You want to kind of shape the world around you to some degree. You know, you want to put your own energy into the ether or whatever. um, yeah, it's very hard to. I mean, what's the point in creativity? I guess it's just I guess you want to see reality reflect your own image and likeness. You know, you want your inner being to be actualized in an exterior way. I mean, I remember thinking about. It's kind of awesome thing to think that you could be just sitting around and watching TV and a melody coming into your head, and you think that melody's awesome. I guarantee you, in 2 years, there's going to be a whole crowd of people singing that back to me in a big room, and it's going to be a mad, visceral experience. And it happens. That kind of self-actualization is maybe it's ego-based, but it's very rewarding to think that a germination of an idea in your brain and your subconscious can actually become actualized in that to that regard in such an explicit way with a whole bunch of people actually engaging in it with you. Yeah, it goes from the interior to the exterior in such a fluid way that it's kind of very inspiring. I mean, it's beautiful. Music is a beautiful thing in that regard.
Can you remember the first time that happened to you? The first time you thought up a piece of music?
Well, I always used to be writing as a kid. I'd like a bunch of stupid songs like. Persistence over and over again, keep going over and over again, no stopping over and over again. Yep, I wrote that when I was like 10. I had another one about this sci-fi thing, 2000 AD. They had this characters called Mean Team. And I wrote a song about them. Outlaws in a hell by the name of Earth. Freedom, yes, it's good, but how much is it worth? All they want is freedom, Mean Team. So I mean, I was always writing tracks as a kid. I used to, like that. That was it. I was obsessed with 2018. Like I wrote that.
What a comment.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yeah.
I often wondered as a kid what was going to happen when we got to 2000 AD.
I thought they were going to change it. I said, "Hey, come they didn't change it?" It's really. No, 2000 is amazing. I mean, the stuff. My favorite was the Dior Quinch. You know, real men don't use blanks or nuclear parents. I used to have those t-shirts. It's Dior Quinches. That's Anna Moore's best work. I mean, 2018 is actually just everything about 2018 is so influential on me. Especially the drawings of your man. Another guy did all the bouncy stuff, Robert Hunter and Halo Jones. And he did this real liquid style. I can't remember his name. I think it's Alan Gibson. And that kind of bounciness of his drawings and Flash Gordon, I think that was a big influence on the loose, especially in all that stuff. It's that real kind of cartoon energy. Still in my brain as an aesthetic, even with the new track, it still has that kind of aspect to it that I think was very much influenced by 2000 AD, but specifically that artist.
2000 AD, I mean, it's very hard to think about the future in a way without being pessimistic. And 2000 AD had a very pessimistic view of the future.
Yeah, I mean, the dystopian, everything was basically dystopian, wasn't it? I mean, he had Rogue Trooper, and he had Judge Dredd, obviously, which was incredibly dystopic. But my favourite was Robo Hunter. You know, about the private detective, kind of like a Chevy Chase type character with a Hawaiian shirt and cigars, you know, going around, hunting robots. But that was my favourite thing. That was almost like Miami. It almost felt like he was Miami, you know, the future Miami. It's like that was awesome. That was more my style. Actually, I kind of gravitated towards that more than any of the other comics. Yeah, I mean, well, I think. If you the only sci-fi I can think of that has a kind of a benign view of the future is Star Trek, which, you know, when there's a federation, a worldwide federation. And I think it's amazing how influential that idea has been. I think if you think about the whole idea of United Nations or European Union or Obama, it was globalism. I always kind of refer back to that idea, this kind of idea that nations are a thing of the past and that they'll deteriorate and we will become one consciousness, with a civilized, humanistic, political system. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. Well, do you want to put a date on that?
Say Tuesday. Definitely be Tuesday. Anyway.
And which came into your life first, 2000 AD or music?
About the same time. I got really into music when I was 7 or 8. One of my neighbours gave me a compilation with Queen and Michael Jackson and some other kind of cool stuff, ELO and bunch of other kind of Billy Joel, kind of hip stuff like that. And when I was 7 or 8, and I just got obsessed with the cassette, I just couldn't stop listening to it. And then I got the Dire Straits, which I regret in retrospect. But I remember when I first played it. As a kid, I was like, I just couldn't get over that riff. It was just like,
Ooga, ooga.
Yeah, ooga, ooga. And then it was ZZ Top. Those riffs, I mean, those as a kid, just those things, and also Queen, Dragon Attack. But all those, and also the Wacko Jacko stuff, everything, all that stuff, and as a kid I was mad at that. And then I got into it's tricky to rock around, it's right on time, it's tricky. It's tricky to rock around, it's right on time, it's tricky. But the Run DMC and all that, and I got into that when I was 12. That was all. And what you remember that band, they did a version of Lean On Me, Club Nouveau. Yeah, I love that. I love that version better than the original. I still think it's better. And that kind of R&B. Ooh, y'all like the sun, chasing all of the rain away. When you come around, you bring bright day. Those beautiful R&B songs of the 80s, they're all seeped in my consciousness as well. I think that's where a lot of the loose melodies come from. Is that kind of R&B, 80s R&B that you used to hear on the radio, on the MTV or whatever.
And was the idea that this was what you were going to devote your life to? Was that an instant thing, or is that something that grew over time?
No, I was going to want to be a writer when I was a kid. I always thought rock music wasn't serious intellectually, which is a weird thing for a child, I think. I always thought, even when I was practicing guitar a lot when I was 11 or 12, I said, yeah, but this rock and roll is an art. It's just it's fucking thin. It ain't no fucking Shakespeare, or ain't no. I'd be reading Nietzsche at the time when I was a kid. I'd always be reading Nietzsche very young. I'd be reading some cool poetry, and that to me was real art. But when I read King Lear, I think it was when I was 16. I was just like, I had a crisis. Like, I was like, rock music doesn't achieve this aesthetically. All the stuff I was listening to at the time didn't. I was scanning my whole brain for what had the same kind of resonance as that artistically in music. Apart from classical music, all I could think of was the Rolling Stones and James Brown. And then you get into Charles Mingus. But I just realised that whatever it was about black music in America, it seemed to have a much more fibre in it, like, aesthetically than stuff I was listening to at the time. It's like the Marxist Preachers and all this, which is a lot of bollocks, really. I mean, it's okay, but it's good stuff. It's interesting music, but I think that's when I found taste when I was like I mean, I found I got a sense of a more highly developed aesthetic awareness when I was in my late teens, early 20s. But actually, it took me to get to 21 until I really got Wu-Tang Clan. That was the thing that really set me off. When I realised that this was the art that you'd been anticipating, I mean, this literature and everything in Wu-Tang Clan, you know, it's as deep and profound as anything you're ever going to experience as a purveyor of the arts, you know. So I think the Wu-Tang Clan was really...
And what was it about Wu-Tang?
Just the depth, the complexity, the mastery of form, the mastery of content, the wit, the kind of... But just it's proper art. It's just like a fucking great movie, or you know, it's or a great book. I mean, it gives you the same feeling that like feeling Crime and Punishment would. You feel Crime and Punishment. You feel you've been kind of renovated by a work of art. You feel your inner being has been kind of reconstituted. And I think when you hear the Wu-Tang, you know, to me that's definitely what happened with them. I mean, they changed my whole conception of myself. You know, made me kind of very anxious to, you know, first of all, who's the A&R, mountain climber who plays an electric guitar? He don't know me in no dope because you're looking for a suit and tie wrap that's cleaner than a bar of soap, and I'm the dirtiest thing in sight. As a matter of fact, bring out the girls, let's have a mud fight. That to me was brilliant rejection of, especially because at the time my sister was going through all this venal record company shit that I had to watch, and I got a very close window into the music industry at its highest levels because my sister was getting signed at the time. She was signed to DreamWorks eventually. But I got to meet a lot of bigwigs, and I got to see the music industry in Britain and the States from kind of inside very explicitly, and I felt a lot of disgust and kind of Wu-Tang Clan reflected that in the lyrics, kind of an independence from corporate interference and kind of self-reliance.
But your rejection of the corporate world kind of seems to go beyond music. There's a lot of references in your songs to the other, like your new song. The word like normal, you talk about normal and normals, and
Yeah.
like, well, can you explain a bit about your thinking behind that? In the what's the current? Very Strange.
Yeah.
So in Very Strange, you talk about normals. What would the normals do? Like, so we start with that. Like, what do you? What's your beef with normals, and who are normals?
Yeah, I know. I always had this kind of little cartoon mannequin, and you know, struggle between squares and the hipsters, not hipsters, but the squares and the cool gang. And I always wanted to be in the cool gang. Or not, no, squares and the freaks, I guess that's what you describe it. I'm a freak. You know, I'm a weird person. I've got weird body language. I have weird cadence of speech. People stare at me when I'm walking down the street with a quizzical look. And I've got that my whole life. So I've always felt like a freak, you know, amidst the squares. And it's definitely almost a driving force in me. I suppose even as a kid, I was kind of on the outside because I didn't like sport. I wasn't in sport. I didn't give a shit about football or anything like that. And everything everyone was talking about all the time just seemed to be incredibly boring unless it was music or pop culture, you know, films or books I was into. But I was always kind of, even to this day, I mean, you know, you get some guys who big sporty head or Jim Bunny dude, and he looked at me and he kind of, like as if I shouldn't exist. I'm like, no, you shouldn't exist, bro. You know, I mean, it's this kind of constant struggle with the squares.
And do you feel this thing of being a freak or being weird is something you chose or something that happened by accident, or was it cultivated? Was it a decision? Was it an accident?
No, I think it came from my parents, particularly from my mother, who was kind of, you know, they were very bohemian in their in the way they thought about things. They hated conformity, and they hated the strictures of the Catholic fascist state that they were living in. and they rebelled against it as much as they could. So I always got that sense of like it's us against the pricks from my parents, and my sister's the same. She never took any shit off anybody, and my mum back in the day when Ireland was a sexist shithole. I mean, where a woman couldn't even go to a bar without people thinking she was on her own, without people thinking she was a prostitute. My mum fought against all that, fought against it tooth and nail, and she had to kick against the pricks, kick against the squares, and I suppose I definitely inherited that from the Yelper.
And how did they instill that in you, and from what age? What kind of memories do you have of this being?
I remember from a very early age. I remember it. I can't remember a single moment, but I mean, I just know. I knew they always had contempt for conservative people, like hatred, and they would express it in vibrant terms.
But yet, your parents both worked within it. They were surrounded by it. They lived in the middle of it. They
They're
worked.
both kind of mavericks in their jobs, and they were able to do it without ever jeopardizing their work. But they're both able to kind of move from the inside. It was stressful for my mother dealing with the bureaucracy in the school she was in, but she had a great relationship with the kids. She didn't like all the rules that were put down, especially as it progressed, in the latter years with the new educational rules. Became very kind of functional. She hated all that, but at the end of the day, she was able to move around and able to still do her job in that context. And impart her own ethos to the kids. They constantly come up to me all the time and said that she changed their life, So.
That's amazing. And what schools did you go to, and did you find them very conservative?
I went to St. Joseph's, which was very conservative. Yeah, I mean, horribly so. Had some great teachers in there, but they used to punch kids in the stomach, which isn't nice. But at the same time, that's what they were taught, that it's okay to slap kids in the face and hit them and punch them and hit them with canes so hard that the cane breaks. But apart from that, it was grand. Secondary school was a lot of great teachers. Temple Og, a very conservative ethos from the top down. It was kind of despicable in retrospect. But I made great friends in there. My great friends are still there. But then I went to, thankfully, Stratford College for a year when I repeated my leaving. That gave me a whole different window into education, which is a very tolerant, open, beautiful place. That was a great place. And I think a lot of it was just having women in the school, which I think when men kind of cluster together, this kind of atavistic, I don't know if that's the right word, but it's kind of very... it's almost like everything becomes very evolutionary, or it's like sport driven. It's like Lord of the Flies kind of thing. I think you need women in there to temper the atmosphere a bit. And when I was in school with females in it, that just calmed me down a bit, because it just brought kind of more wholesome energy to the whole thing. And then I doubled my points, and then when I got into college, I guess college is all about insurrection. I mean, everything in college is about feminism, and me interrogating feminism, and all the other paradigms, ideological paradigms that were in there. But college, I loved. College, that was fantastic. In college, you're encouraged to question ideas. That's your critical thinking is what you're supposed to be doing. So. But school, there was always, it was fine, but there was all that just stupid thing. They weren't allowed to grow your hair long or some crap, some stupid. Then you end up growing a mullet, and you had to put it in the back of your shirt. You used to hide it. Like, you have this stupid little mullet at the back, a real square haircut, big long rat's tail at the back of it. It's like ridiculous, but you're so eager to express your individuality that stays. It's just kind of stupid shit you do.
And you mentioned earlier that Comeback Girl is about your mother.
Well, yeah, shouldn't have to notice if I'm clean, Mary. That bit is, that's about my mom. My mom's name is Mary, yeah. That's just been me wanting to get my shit together for my mother. Which I didn't do, unfortunately, but yeah, no, that song's a bit of hope, you know, because I nearly died a year before I wrote that, or 2 years. I just had a severe asthma attack, and I had complete lung failure, and like I had 9 doctors around me, and I was in intensive care with a machine breathing me for 3 days. And eventually my heart stopped, and they put adrenaline into it. I came back. That happened to me when I was 24. So after that, I kind of get that kind of energy, that event, kind of fused to come back around energy. You know, I was like a rebirth in some ways. When I woke up from that, I kind of had a real, that's when all the loose stuff happened. I kind of moved forward into the light with that stuff, and I had a great time then. Yeah, but it was all kind of based on that run away from death kind of vibe. So it was trying constant fear of death, but I've always had that because I was in and out of hospital as a kid all the time with the asthma. I nearly died a few times. So I've always got that kind of hellhounds on my trail vibe, just trying to run from death, and I think that's what those songs are about. They're kind of like, you know, run towards hope and, you know, and life and trying to escape death.
Well, I'm just thinking of I like music,
yeah,
as well, and another song where you're kind of portraying your existence in contrast with others' existence. The woman you met out.
Yeah, so there's definitely kind of concentration. I mean, and Rick James has the same thing. Rick James is a big influence for me. I'll write you squares, you know, super freak, you know, everything is about squares and freaks, and it's about aligning yourself on one side, and I've always been drawn to that paradigm. I don't know why, but
one of the things I've noticed as I've gotten older is things seem to work out for sensible people.
Yeah.
Which I wish I'd learned it earlier and younger.
Yeah, sensible people, yeah. Well, they don't call them sensible for nothing. Yeah, that's the truth of the situation. Bastards.
Their plans and their savings and they're looking after themselves.
Who the hell did they think they were? Did they not know their life is supposed to be chaos and horror? Pricks. Yeah, no, I don't know. You're right. But also, it works out for sociopathic people. You know, I think you have to, if you really want to be successful in life, you have to embrace your inner lizard, your inner reptile. Just consume everything that gets in your way of your goals, like Trump or like anyone else who's successful in the corporate world or whatever. You just have to have a certain sociopathic element when it comes to the work process.
Well, I suppose having goals is a start.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be even scared to have goals because I've got into the Taoist way of thinking, which is like, life is a lot of bollocks anyway. Just do whatever. Just keep it real. And, keep yourself alive. So, yeah, my goal is mainly just, at the moment, just getting on done that I think that's a difficult enough goal to achieve that. So I'm not going to think about any other goals apart from that. And but even with the single, people seem to like the single, and it was a horrific process getting it done. I mean, it nearly drove me insane. I did 17 mixes on it with my good friend Fergal Davis. He's a very talented mixer, master engineer, and songwriter in his own right. But we just spent ages doing it, because there's so many ideas. So just to get that finished, it was almost like a gargantuan struggle. But it's like Jordan Peterson said, incremental work can really help get you out of a mess.
Would you be a fan of Jordan Peterson?
No, no, fuck him.
What's that? What's that philosophy you mentioned a few minutes ago? Taoism? What were you?
Or Taoism.
Taoism.
Yeah, Taoism. Yeah, yeah. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right.
So like a Zen acceptance, or like how would you define Taoism? Or
Well, mainly if I kind of most of our members from Chuang Tzu, who's like yeah, ambition is idiotic. Self-actualization, the idea of self-actualization is idiotic. The idea that you're important, that your life is some kind of movie, that you're the hero of it, is completely idiotic. That none of us are important. That we're just like specks of meaningless dust in the massive, gorgeous architecture of heaven and earth. And then to make plans and try and control things is beyond stupid, you know. And just react, live in the moment as much as possible. React to what happens. Try and detach yourself from it. Respect tradition, but don't invest yourself in it emotionally or ideologically. But respect it. Practice the rites, as Confucius said. Confucius said, practice the rites, but don't put too much stay in them. You know what I mean? So it's like there's always a balance in Taoism, and it's with the, invest yourself in something, but not too much. Always be empty. Always be empty, like they're always saying, always be empty, like. Try and empty yourself as much as possible.
so where's the line on a day-to-day basis in terms of decision making or planning, or like how far down each avenue do you go or know to go?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's my problem in life. I mean, I go by instinct, really. That's my problem with having a job. I mean, I love working in BIM. It's great, a fantastic place, brilliant kids. But just I'm kind of disorganized person because I tend to go by instinct. I tend to just go whatever way I feel. Like I'm very. I suffer from terrible anxiety, so anything that distracts me from anxiety is my main goal. That is usually music, or it could be some bad energy, but music and books and movies are the kind of things that keep me in conversations with my intelligent friends, keeps me sane. Apart from that, everything else I find quite boring and makes me upset.
You seem to love and really enjoy being on stage.
Yeah, when you're in the moment, and it's also, I recognise the artificiality of it as a young kid, and I realised, I'm so Rory Gallagher when I was 12, and he was looking straight into the crowd with no fear, and he was shouting at the crowd, like, come on! And I thought it was so powerful, it was so powerful, and I still can remember it, like, and I've never seen an artist really do that at the same level as him since. The intimacy that he had with the crowd, and I just thought that was such an amazing thing that I always wanted to bring that in gigs where you look the crowd straight in the eye, and you know the artificiality of the situation, and you can make a connection with them because of that. And I've had amazing experiences because of that. I mean, we've had amazing gigs, really phenomenal. I mean, where the vibe in the room has just been almost like something religious. We've had just fantastic experiences, and still do. I mean, I love it. Yeah, I mean, I used to not really enjoy that much at the end of it with the loose stuff because it was very stressful. And a lot of it was quite repetitive. You just go out and go jump around and do the hits and then get the crowd to sing in this minute, and then you get in a van, everyone's soaking. But getting back into the blues and just playing, being able to improvise on stage a bit, have a room for flexibility is really fantastic, and that's what I'm looking forward to. Just bringing those two things together with my own gig on the 60th, just bringing those two things together, that element of spontaneity that I have from playing blues and playing guitar, and the fact that I'm working with a bunch of jazz musicians who can kind of wing it anyway. And also the kind of more structured thing that we have with the loose, which is like bam, 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 play hits, get the crowd going bananas. I think you can mix those two together like Prince used to do. That's the real thread to. It's great to try and thread that needle, because I think that balance that, like say, Prince had with spontaneity and structure live is amazing.
Will you play loose songs now, or are they locked
I'm
away?
going to play a load of them at the gig, yeah. Mostly just the hits, and then try and do some of my new stuff. No, I'm looking forward to playing the new stuff. I mean, it's been ages since I did it. I mean, it's been the last I did a gig in the show club around a year and a half ago, but before that it had been 6 years ago since we last played a loose gig. So.
And you've been playing all these residencies. You've been playing lots of regular small gigs, and that's where you've been doing all this spontaneity you've been talking about.
Yeah, I've been doing booze on Wednesdays and Sundays, and I had another one in funk thing up with Pete Pamf, the great Pete Pamf, doing a funk vibe, which is great fun. And then I played with Jack Cody then again. We're up and back at Sutton for a while. I think we're coming back on June the 9th for a bit, playing kind of country stuff. So I get a chance to flex various different genres. I mean, I can play the country stuff and the kind of folky stuff and soul, and then I can play just pure funk with Pete Pamf, and then with the lads I get to play the blues. So it's fun for me just to get out there, and I really enjoy those kind of gigs because there's not much pressure. You just kind of get enjoying the music.
And would you like to play a song, and what would you like to play?
Okay. What one do you think I should play? What kind of one?
Well, it's up to you. I mean, I think it'd be great. I mean, whether you want to play the single or one of your other new songs, it's totally up to you. Whatever you feel like playing.
I'll try playing this one, even though if it doesn't work. I'm only crying and weeping and acting so misleading, all because of this burn that I have for you, babe. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. I'm only nasty, I'm only wrong, I'm only trying to string you along, all because of this burn that I have for you, babe. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. I want you to know you're on my mind, even though I'm out of it all of the time. I want you to know you can do whatever you want to do. If I'm not there to watch it happening, babe, my thoughts won't be with you. I'm only precious, I'm only specious, I'm only who the hell I even think that I'm being is, all because of this burn that I have for you, babe. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. I'm only taking you out to places and getting you involved in situations that debase us, basically because of this burn that I have for you, babe. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. I only saw, I only sighed, I'm only drunk, I'm only high, I'm only asking why. Girl, I'm not like those tattooed gym body fools that you used to know. I'm nothing like your future boyfriends either. But I believe in love. But it's not a drug, it's just a shrug. in your shoulders as I leave you. I'm burn that half of you, babe. 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 Jesus, Mr. I'm only. Oh yeah. All because this burn that I have for you, babe. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. Whoa. Oh, whoa, whoa. Oh yeah. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. I'm only throwing tantrums and throwing chrysanthemums at you. And some haphazard gets you romance and what have you. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. All because of this burn that I have for you, babe. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Brilliant. Was that written about a particular person?
Yeah.
Has she heard it?
I don't know. I think so, yes, yeah. Why?
No, I just... It's pretty emphatic.
Emphatic in what sense?
The burn that you have for her.
Yeah, emphatic in the sense of being repetitious. I get it. You've mastered the euphemisms.
No, well, I mean, there's no grey area in your feelings.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I mean, that song was, but that was about. Yeah, I mean, it's about. I mean, it's fictionalized. Everything is fictionalized to some degree. It's just a mixture of real life and fiction.
And the gym bunny's getting a beating.
Yeah, always have to kick the squares in the nuts in every Pyro song. That's these gym bunny. These losers going around, these 9-year-old kids in Pantala, they walk around like different. Conor McGregor, I got so much muscles I can't even move my upper body. Yeah, fuck off.
Do muscles make you stronger?
No, they make you weaker, in my opinion.
For some reason, Revenge of the Nerds has cropped into my head.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. It's the main theme of my whole life. I was a complete nerd. And but then I didn't. I looked kind of I didn't have a nerdy aspect in the sense that I once I became older, I kind of looked very masculine, and I had some incredible presence when I walked on stage, and able to get ability to get people to do what I told them to do, like sit down and shut the fuck up or whatever. So I've got this inner nerd, and I always love nerds, but I have the other thing as well. I'm kind of bifurcated that way.
But nerds have, the word has been very much reclaimed, I think, especially in the last kind of 10, 15 years. Like a nerd is no longer a term of abuse.
Yeah, no, big time. But it's someone that's interested in culture, man. I mean, that's what a nerd is. Someone that's not interested in sport, but is interested in culture. Or you could be a sport nerd, you could be really into the minutiae of baseball or hurling or whatever. Yeah, it's just somebody who's really interested in things. That's all I've ever met. I mean, Wu-Tang Clan were nerds. I mean, Rizzo was a nerd. I mean, he read Norse mythology and stuff, I mean, the art of war and watch kung fu movies. And it's just someone who's devours culture. That's all it is.
Yeah, because when I was a kid, it was a term of abuse, and that's not how it is now. My kids think nerd's a good thing.
Yeah, but really, yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, but also I just love, especially teaching with the kids. With the more sensitive ones are usually the most into it, and they could be, or if you see someone's kind of meek, and it's great to try and bring them out themselves as much as possible, and.
What do you teach in BIM, and how do you teach it?
I teach it very well. I teach rock very well.
Is that your subject, rock?
Yes, we have rock classes. I know I teach two modules. One is vocal styles, and the other is styles analysis. One is in the vocal stream, the other one is in the songwriting stream, but they're very similar. Just basically going through the different genres of music and talk about their traits. And one is kind of accenting on the vocal traits, So, just so you go to Motown, you go to country and western, you go to metal. You try and explain what the different traits of each genre are vocally for the vocals, and then with the other one you talk about the traits as a whole, with how music is put together, all specific thing. You talk about Chuck Berry uses specificity in the imagery. It's just so specific imagery. It's never broad or general. It's always very detailed. You have, his lyrics are about transgression, but they usually have a kind of moral turn at the end, a kind of Christian moral turn at the end. Then musically it's obviously R&B. So you try and you trace the genesis of that rock shuffle.
But you really enjoy it. You really enjoy BIM.
Yeah, I do. I find it quite stressful, but I love the kids, man. I love teaching them, and they're amazing students. The level of talent in there is unbelievable.
And what's the stressful bit, like having to be in a certain state of mind, in a certain place at a certain time, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's always been a problem with me. Unfortunately, yes. It's cool. But I mean, you get to show the best side of yourself, really, which is your most civilized. You put your most civilized foot forward, and in that way, it's kind of rewarding. I think it's good for your sense of self.
And channeling your mother as well, or following in her footsteps at the very least.
Exactly, yeah. My mum was a great teacher, one of the best in the country. I mean, she's headhunted by all these Leeson Street, everything. I mean, and she was a great teacher. I mean, I'd never be at her level, I'd say, but because she complete mastery of the subject, which I don't. But
Your mum was at maths.
Maths, yeah. But no, but I love, man. You wouldn't believe the kids who are teaching this year in the songwriting division. They're a fantastic bunch, and the level of talent is incredible in the vocalists and the singers and the whole colleges. I mean, I think the level of talent is very inspiring. I don't think there's ever that much good stuff going on, really. I mean, I think it's about to foment into something like a movement. Hopefully, in the next 10 years, Ireland will become like in Manchester or Montreal or whatever. I think it already is to some degree, but I think we could really start knocking out big acts in the same way as other countries do, and quality as well, innovation, and which was we're always a bit staid and a bit behind the curve in terms of popular music, but I think that's changing. I think we're really evolving on that level.
We have Aoife Carton, who's in BIM at the moment, playing in Whelan's on Wednesday at a gig we organised called Wow.
Cool.
Aoife, she's kind of into country. She's going to Nashville for the summer.
Oh yeah, I've seen her. She's great, amazing singer. Yeah.
She's really good. And there seems to be so much going on with BIM, and but the other thing about BIM is so many people I know have been able to get mortgages because they've taught in BIM.
I don't know who they are and how many hours they're getting, but it's not me, that's for sure.
Well, I know a lot of people who it's like a lot of musicians get to become bankable all of a sudden, or regular, or.
Well, no, it's great to have regular work. Yeah, I mean, that's a real gift.
Well, Mik, thanks so much for your time. And June 6th, which is what day of the week is that? Wednesday. So this Wednesday fortnight.
That's it. Yeah.
I'm going to put this out today, hot off the presses. So go out today. So if you hear this before Wednesday the 30th of May, it's Wednesday fortnight. If you hear it after Wednesday the 30th of May, we'll check your calendar.
Yeah, I'm confused already. Anyway.
Oh no, hang on. No, it's Wednesday week.
Yeah, this Wednesday week.
Well, I better get it out today.
Rock and roll.
Thanks, Mik.
Cool, thanks, Mik.
You've been listening to BornOptimistic until next Monday. Thanks, Millie. Bye.